Guys, welcome to the Coach Brix Show. This is your host, Coach Brix, man. Episode number 1. It's great to be here, man. I wanted to give something different. You know, a lot of things out there, a lot of information comes out all the time on the internet about different things. And I want to be a training source, a resource that you guys can utilize to get information. You know, I love talking, I love researching, I love doing my homework, love self-educating myself to better understand the body and why certain things go on. And I want to bring that to you guys because I really think there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of, I call them myths out there in the fitness world. You know, and there's tons of them, you know, that go on all the time, and what you need to look for and what you don't need to look for. You know, I'm trying to cut through some of the stuff, and that's my main thing about this show. You know, I wanted to bring it to you once a week, you know, talk on a different topic, different thing, and then also hopefully bring one live, where we're just live. You know, I'll get information, you know, questions from you guys throughout the week or even that day and try to answer them right there, right live. You know, right there on the internet for you guys. So we're going to be doing a bunch of different things to try to help you guys broaden your knowledge in the sports performance realm. You know, and this stuff isn't all made up by me. Okay, this stuff I've researched from other very intelligent individuals who I highly respect in this profession. There's some very good ones and some very poor ones. Okay, and you got to know which ones are where. And the guys that I follow, I have a lot of respect for. They do a lot of good research and stuff like that. And I even, a lot of times, even just throw their names out there for guys that out there, you know, looking for maybe some other resources or other parts of the area, the country, where you guys can go and get some great training as well. Well, my first episode, I really want to touch base on, and something that I've become more and more passionate about over the years, is female athletes. You know, I'm very blessed that I got some incredible female athletes that I work with, you know, from kids that are, you know, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade up, you know, that just put the work in and dedicate themselves and, you know, really make an improvement upon themselves. And I continue to do research on female athletes to see why there's a disparity in certain things, why certain females, you know, don't train. You know, what's the big deal? Why they have a higher risk of injuries than their male counterparts. You know, and what's holding them back? You know, I mean, since, you know, Title IX came out sometime in the early 1970s, you know, there's been a huge increase in female sports. And you look at it all along. Now, I'm in the Mecca. I call it the Mecca of field hockey, because this is where some of the best field hockey players in the world, at least the United States, come from. You know what I mean? Some of the high schools we have around here are incredible. Just incredible what they do. Hell, even not too far away from here, you got where the U.S. national team, you know, trains and does all their stuff. So this is a big thing in this area. So you have sports like field hockey, basketball, volleyball, you know, lacrosse. Girls lacrosse is starting to pick up in popularity and stuff. So you're starting to see an increase in these female athletes at a younger age get involved, which is great. I really encourage people to get out there. You know, if it wasn't for my mother and father pushing me into, you know, soccer when I was whatever, U5, U6, whatever it is, who knows where I would be. You know, they never forced me to do it, but they got me involved. I fell in love with the sport and, you know, continued to play all the way through my college years. But the females out there, you know, besides playing, I don't see tons of them doing the outside activity that I think they need to do. All right? I don't see them out there training. You know, it's almost like a taboo in this day and age, where I think they have a misconception of actually weight training. They think it's going to be bulk them up like a man. I think they look at pictures of, you know, bodybuilders and stuff like that, or female bodybuilders, and that's what they think is going to happen to them. Well, you're mistaken in that respect. Now, if that's what you want to do, and that's how you want to be, go for it. I'm all for it. Great. But if you want to just get yourself stronger and get yourself in better shape and ready to prepare you for the season, then strength training the correct way is only going to help you out. It's only going to enhance your ability. It's going to improve your performance, okay? And it's also going to help mitigate injuries. Those two things right alone, which I even tell to my male athletes, are the two most important things. All right? Plus, the bonus is it should lead to a healthier lifestyle as you grow older. All right? Because we all know that the day and age that we live in is we're more sedentary, we're sitting around much more often, and we're not doing as many activities. So that alone should motivate people and motivate their parents to get them involved. You know, playing a sport all year round, and we could go on this is for another whole topic, all right, can be detrimental, because we're using the same muscles over and over and over and over again if we're not cross-training. And that's why it's great to do some strength training in there, some plyometric training, some speed work, all those kind of things with mobility, stability, flexibility, all those kind of things can help, all right, with longevity and hopefully mitigate those injuries like we said. And we talk about, the first thing I want to talk about really with the females is the injuries, all right? Females on general are at a higher risk than males for injuries, all right? And we're going to go down the chain here. And we're talking about concussions, all right? Concussions get a huge talk about over the last 2 to 3 years, especially when it comes to the NFL. There's all the hits and stuff like that and the lawsuits and things that are going on. But females are at a higher risk for it. All right, you think about that. All right, females are at a higher risk, but yet we don't talk about it very often. Very few articles are out there, or people talking about it. There are articles that prove it and show it, but very few people are really talking about, hey, females, you really need to train your necks. All right, so concussions for females are higher. Yet, you take away football, boom. You're looking at females way higher than males. All right? You even leave football in there, females are right up there. The number one sport is football for concussions. Guess what's number 2? Girls soccer. All right? So you're looking at having issues there. There's things that you can do to fix that. Strengthening the neck's probably the main one. You can buy all these helmets and buy all this gadgets crap that's out there. Nothing's really been proven to show, hey, this reduces concussions, except strengthening the neck muscles. Get them stronger. So you can see why females can be at a higher risk, because typically their neck muscles are much more weaker than males. So boom. Shoulder injuries. Another thing. Females tend to have weaker upper bodies than males. They're not quite as strong. So their shoulders tend to, get hit, stuff like that. If they fall down on the ground, separate them and things like that. There's another one. Now you get down to the lower half of the body. And this is where everybody talks about the ACL, all right, the knee injuries. And there's many reasons. You ask doctors why females have it. You can talk about the Q angle, how the thing sits. It talks about maybe they having a smaller ACL than the male, or the intercondyle where it sits in the femur. That's all fancy jargon and stuff like that for saying what I would say is you need to train. You need to train to fix those things. Okay? And over my years, those are my 10 plus years of training athletes, all athletes, male, females. One of the biggest things that I've seen is weak hamstrings. And they talk about, females having dominant quads compared to their hamstrings. I think all athletes do in today's age. All right, we don't train our hamstrings enough and isolate those hamstrings or even the glutes. And it's that posterior chain, so it's the back part of your body. But we really need to hammer home those hamstrings. Because once I started training a lot of my athletes and we really started getting into more hamstring work, we've seen a huge reduction in the number of athletes tearing their ACLs. Now, I get a lot after they already tore them. Doctors refer them to me and stuff like that, and I help get them back, get them back to playing after they're done with rehab. But for the most part, we don't see really many athletes, and then go on and hurt themselves. And if they do, it's usually minor. They don't maybe tear it. They might have a strain of the knee, but because of their hamstring strength, help prevent probably some of that stuff. So the hamstrings are so important when it comes to, in my opinion, in preventing a lot of these ACLs. So we need to look at that as well. Some other things is how females land. They're not taught proper landing. And you got to teach them that to make sure that they don't hurt themselves. Everybody should be taught that, but we sometimes skip over. We become a society that wants to be, doing all these crazy YouTube video drills and not looking at the basics. So that's another thing. But getting along after that, after you talk about the injuries and all that kind of stuff, what else strength training is for? It's to help improve that performance. How can we make our athletes better? How can we make you better? That's what you should ask yourself. If you're playing a sport and it's outside of recreational, rec sports, then you should be training outside of that. You should not be pounding your body over and over again with the same sport. Because you're just beating it up. And eventually it's going to fail you. That's just life. If I drove my car all the time and didn't take care of it, didn't maintain it, with checking the oil, checking the windshield wiper fluid, the tires and all that kind of stuff, what do you expect out of the car to do? It's going to break down. It's like the human body. It's going to break down. That's just how it is. But if you take care of it and maintain it, it can last you forever. Maybe not a car, but the human body should last you to the day you die. And it should function pretty well outside of any diseases. So we got to start thinking on that level. All right, females, don't get caught in that syndrome of, oh gosh, here we go, I don't want to lift weights because I might bulk up. No, then you got to get over that. You got to train. You got to train to strengthen the body, strengthen the hips, strengthen the legs, strengthen the upper body, strengthen the neck, so you can help prevent against these things. These are all things that need to be done to make yourself a better athlete, but also help prevent injuries. Okay? So looking at these areas, this is what we need to do. You need to do this. And I got something coming up this upcoming weekend where I'm doing a female workshop. And this is for all the, it's limited to a certain number of females that can participate. But it says just some of these issues. Talk about some of the injuries. Why are you having injuries? I went over some here. But why are you having these injuries? What can you do? What can you look for? These are all important things. If you're a sport coach, you should be looking at this stuff. One of the pictures that floated around the internet back in 2010, 11, 12, somewhere around there, was Robert Griffin Jr. doing his broad jump at his NFL combine. Okay, it's still floating around. I saved it. I screenshotted it. It's on my computer. And when he went to do his broad jump, you see his knees knocked together, and he lands. Now this is a high-profile athlete. This is a guy who made a lot of money going into the NFL. This guy played at a high level, Baylor. Okay, Heisman Trophy winner. Now one person could pick that out. Looking at that, we need to be more observant. Not only strength coaches, but as sport coaches. You need to see, does that mean everybody's going to have a knee issue? Does that mean everybody's going to have a knee? No, I can't predict that. I'm not God. Don't plan to be God. All right? But what I am telling you is let's look at the warning signs and let's do something about it. Okay? We need to train. Every single coach should have their kids train. All right? But not just train any which way. You're not taking something off the internet and hopefully it's going to work. You need to go see qualified people that understand the human body. Okay? That's a whole other topic between coaches and trainers. All right? I talk about that very often. All right? There is a huge difference between a coach, a strength coach, and just a trainer. All right? You need to understand the human body, how the human body works, why it works this way. What can you identify when you're doing that? Okay? We need to look at those things. I'm not asking you to be a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Don't plan on ever becoming a doctor. All right? They do what they do well. All right? But we need to be a line of defense and looking at that. And a sport coach, you guys need to be that line of defense. You can see certain things. That doesn't seem right. One of the good quotes that I heard was, where the pain is, it's probably not where the problem is. Okay, so if I have knee pain, it's not always where the problem is occurring. There could be a breakdown someplace else. And I see this with a lot of female athletes. A lot of female athletes. I dealt with a couple over the winter break here that had some knee issues. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, your knee's not the problem. Yeah, it hurts, but that's not the issue. Your issue's coming from, this other area. Could be their ankle, could be their hip, it could be someplace else. So we need to smarten ourselves up and understand where to get that and look for it. And that's why I'm doing this workshop this Saturday, at 10:30 in the morning. You got to sign up, you got to register for it. Like I said, there's only certain spots, and a lot of those spots have already been taken. And then I'm doing another one on Wednesday night, where a lot of the spots have already been taken too. But I'm doing female workshops so I can address, and so you guys can understand, you and your parents and sports coaches can understand what you need to look for. This is a growing problem. We should not be having these high rates of injuries, okay, especially non-contact. If we're not going to do anything, we will continue to have this. So we need to wake up. So in conclusion here, all right, females, continue to do what you're doing. I love that you guys participate. I say this all the time. Some of my greatest athletes I've ever have worked with, ever, over my 15-year career, have been female athletes. They put the time in. They put the work in. They might not get quite the accolades where they make it to the NFL like some of my athletes have, but they put the work in, and they bust their humps. You know what I mean? They never talk back. They just put the work in, and I greatly appreciate that. I've seen it. I've seen it over and over and over. So continue to push. But also remember, don't forget about the strength training part. Don't forget about the plyometrics. Done correctly. I can't stress that enough. It has to be done correctly. Qualified people who understand the human body need to be helping you out. If you're just going to get something off the internet, that's like going to and becoming a doctor. Going to a doctor, hey doctor, I know you only studied off the internet, you don't have any degree, you don't know anything about the human body, but I know you studied here, so tell me what I should do. And that's what's going on. All right? You need to make sure you're getting the right training. All right? Guys, let me know what you guys else want to hear about. I have topics for a bunch of different, weeks that I want to do. Talk about, like I said, one of it's going to be between coaches and trainers. The difference and what you need to look for. But there's a lot of other things. I'm probably going to have some guests on, some athletes that I would like to have on every once in a while. I also want to go live like once a month And if it takes off with the live part, I like to go as often as I can, where you guys are communicating right there. You know, asking questions, firing questions away right live, you know, on Facebook there. So let me know what I can do to help you guys out. Spread this message. All right, get this out. There's a lot of great trainers out there. I should say coaches out there that are doing magnificent work. All right, they're doing great things in this field, in the strength and conditioning field. You know, I follow them, study them, I watch them. They're doing unbelievable things. I go and hang out with them, go meet with them, you know, at their facilities to see what they're doing so I can bring it back as well. I'm not just thinking I know everything, because I don't. My system has changed over the years to adapt as what new things come out, and maybe some of the other stuff I push to the back because maybe it's not as important. Okay? Guys, let me know what I can do. Remember, we got to continue to progress this field. It's got to continue to go forward. All you sports coaches out there, make your athletes better. All right? Don't just make them play one sport. Encourage that multi-sport athlete, because I'm telling you, it will pay dividends in the long run. I want to see great athletes. I want to see great athletes out there, not just great field hockey, and that's all they can do. All right, I want to see great athletes. All right, they can do many different things well. Okay, because that's what's going to play out. Because eventually, if they're great athletes, they're probably going to continue to learn, and they're going to become great field hockey players. All right, start them young. You know what I mean? Get them in that habit. You know, my daughter's 5 years old. She comes up and she does a bunch of different routines and stuff like that. I don't push her. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. She comes up and just has a blast with stuff, running around doing that. And that's also going to be another topic about play and actually training. Two different things. Guys, continue to feed me the messages. Keep strong. Stay blessed. Remember, greatness never rests.